is happening because they just don't know how to suss out the fake stuff and whatnot because they haven't been around it.
They don't understand every chick is a dude on the internet.
They don't know what a meme is.
Yeah.
So anytime they see something that is very obviously a meme,
clearly a great interpretation of an idea into one still picture.
Yeah, but sometimes
with words.
Sometimes old people show you a real funny meme, and that's nice.
Meme.
They do that.
I do love how it got taken over, like with, like especially like maybe more right leaning like people, like how they get whole ideas of like, so you see what I'm saying? Like, look at how funny this is, and it's just like, yeah, we get it. I mean, she should be in prison, but I mean, they should all be in prison. Like, let's be honest.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing is they also don't know how to do their own research, because when you go onto Google and you go, should this person go to prison? It'll pop up with, because that's what you're looking for. Yeah. So even if you did the inverse of that and go, this person shouldn't be in prison, you're going to see a shit ton of stuff.
And that's like what you should do for your, like, that's what I do with my ideas. I do that because you want to read. If somebody's got a good opinion out there, probably don't pick the first one, but read through 5 of them, 5 different people's opinions on why they believe the opposite of what you believe. You'll get a better view, and you'll be able to defend yourself better. So it just makes sense to do.
I have always said that you have to keep a different opinion around, just because no matter what, in the end, it validates whatever your opinion is.
Yeah, you can't.
Whether you change your mind, which a lot of people don't do anymore, and I think it's perfectly okay to do, but you can either change your mind, or you go, I was right. And I completely still agree with what I just thought.
That's the entire, like, ancient philosophy of, like, the court jester, was the king would always have a court jester who could say whatever, because everybody that's the right-hand man of the king is like, no, dude, fucking Henry, you should definitely do that. Like, kill your wife. Like, she didn't, that's another daughter. Fuck her, kill her. Where that's like, everyone's going to be like, yeah, like, that's what you want to do, so we're going to agree with you. And the jester has free reign to be like, maybe hold on. Maybe don't, like, what about this opinion?
Genocide, when has it really worked?
Yeah. So, like, just having that one dissenting thing is, like...
Well, go back to your idea, because you've said it before. Go on your rant about, like, what he just said. Like, you said that before. Now I forget what you were just saying.
Dissenting opinions or old people on the internet?
Old people on the internet. The person that doesn't do their own research.
Oh, yeah. It's
like, that's... You've made a long dialogue about that before, which is worth repeating.
Yeah, just, like, old people get on the internet and, like, they think that they can do internet better than people who are younger, and it's like, you can't reprogram a remote control, but now you can Google better than a doctor knows how to tell you, like, hey, get the vaccine. Well, actually, doc, I Googled this and it says I shouldn't get a vaccine.
I'll say this, the people that are like, oh, the vaccine, it's never Google, they use DuckDuckGo, and they're going to be like, Google shows you the things that Google wants you to see, which is also not true, because if you Google whatever it is that you want to know, it'll just show you whatever it is.
I don't know. They've done something, because I used to be able to find, it's just like YouTube algorithm. Like, you'd see a video that was like, I can't think of a good example, but you could type in the exact, like, what it was called, and you won't be able to find it. Not because it's not there anymore, but they've changed the algorithm where you can't find stuff. That is real.
YouTube has completely changed.
Yeah.
Google also, though, like, because Google, they're a personalized, like, if we Google the same thing, we'll get different, like, Google shows you what it thinks you want to see.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, is no matter what it is that you search, you're going to find it, because it's just going to know, this person wants this.
Except for when you're really looking for that one thing that you wanted to find.
That porno that you saw like 6 years ago, and you're like, what the fuck was it? Who was that girl's name? Dude, I've
watched everything. I got to go watch this one thing that I've seen
I'm on
times.
page 63, and I can't fucking find it.
Yeah, well, it's just like, I mean, I finished like at the 12-minute mark, and there were 17 more minutes. Let's go back and see the back half of that thing. 5
major porn websites, and then you start seeing the same videos on all of them. Like, Jesus Christ, are there no new amateurs? Homemade, real? You got to start qualifying more and more.
The problem that I always run into is like, okay, I want to watch this video. I want to watch the whole thing. I don't want to watch 4 minutes that's like part 6, but I can't find parts 1 through 5. But now I can watch also 9, but 7 and 8 are also missing. Like, what? This is bullshit. Porn sites, get your shit together.
They do. They want you to pay for it. That's why it's like that.
I hate that. I refuse to pay.
I
refuse to pay for porno, which is also why I think OnlyFans is fucking stupid. People that pay for OnlyFans, you're dumb.
It's definitely
I'll say that too. I'm calling out so many people.
It's definitely probably mostly anime people that also pay for OnlyFans.
No way. Weird gym people are definitely paying for OnlyFans.
Weird what?
Gym people, like them dudes that are all buff in the gym but don't actually talk to chicks. Like,
No, I know who exactly it is.
Go ahead.
It's rich people that just have a fuck ton of money that they're like, okay.
I wish I had enough money for another family across town. Oh, that'd be great.
yeah, remember the 80s? Not like any of us were born.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
I
80s.
remember like they're yesterday.
But like, you really could have a different family just on the other side of town. Let alone if you're like a trucker driving across country.
Multiple families.
If you weren't setting up families in each state just to have a rest stop as you're driving, like what were you doing?
I think that's like an old person meme, is like the traveling salesman or a trucker. It's like, oh, they go around and they have different families. Like, no, they definitely go to different towns and have different families.
They definitely did. Like, yeah, for sure.
There's a reason that Ric Flair was able to sleep with 10,000 different women in his lifetime. It's because he went to every city in America.
Well, not only that, him and every famous person, the same story. So it's probably not 10,000 individual women. Probably a lot of those interconnecting people.
You think it's the same 10,000 women?
No, I wouldn't say same, but I'd bet like
There's only 10,000 whores in this country, and every rock star has slept
well,
with
they
all
have
of
those
them.
interviews with like the famous chicks that fuck like they're like, oh, I got White Snake and then I got Poison and like, oh, you're just like putting notches in your belt, which is cool.
That is something.
And
to
also,
be
you were
said.
15 at the time.
Yeah, unfortunately, like
Well, and
looking at like banging kids is not new.
sadly,
Right.
but I think it would be weird if they were like, yeah, I've got proof too. Like, oh, did you get their signature? Well, no, I
got
kept
little Billy here.
I kept little vials of their semen.
Well, now I guess how would they yeah, I guess there is no for a chick that like that's their thing.
No proof.
I guess it's like, well, he's got a weird shaped dick, maybe like.
Well, dude, apparently that was you see that chick tried to call out Elon Musk for like sexually harassed, like she like was a masseuse at Tesla or something, and like she was like, I was giving him a massage and then I like left the room to get more oil or something. I came back and his dick was out. And Elon Musk like was like, oh yeah, like give me receipts. There's something real weird about it. Like tell people.
Which is cool because when that story gets told, you're like, I've heard him speak before. There's no way he's a weird dude who just, oh yeah, my cock's out now, service me. Like he's too weird for that. He'd have you probably like do a math problem first, and then that would get him aroused. You know what I mean?
Elon Musk, another anime guy.
True.
Yeah. All right. He's on the spectrum, so cool. You guys got another one.
Yes.
Normies don't watch anime. I'm sorry. Grown men that are normal guys,
I think I'm pretty normal.
except for that dark corner in the part of your brain where it's like, man, anime. I love dudes that look like chicks.
Anime is coming around as being
See,
mainstream,
that
and I'll be honest, I
you're
hate it.
focusing on the wrong types of anime. Like the
Man,
dudes in
this is comic.
yeah, them dudes don't look like chicks.
That's true.
I don't know. I just don't like how they get beaten and they're like, oh, there was another level to this. Like, no, once you were beat, there is no. You tried your hardest. It's done.
What?
You got
No
your ass
way.
kicked.
So fucking Mike Tyson gets beat and then he comes back and beats the shit out of like, Buster Douglas.
There's anime like that where it's more realistic. I keep telling Kev, there's an anime about volleyball, and I fucking love it. It's
Big
awesome.
tits bouncing.
It's guys playing volleyball.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Big balls bouncing.
There you
Hell
go.
yeah.
And there you go. That's
but-
anime.
But it's cool because you're able to at least feel like if you've played a team sport before, you see them win and work together and train and stuff like that, get better as a team, and then they lose, and it's heartbreaking because if you've ever been in a game where you've been real excited, you're like, we're going to win this, and you lose, you just feel the disappointment. So it ends up being like one of those stories where it's like, I feel that.
All right.
And you've recommended that one specifically, and other ones like there was that baseball one you liked before.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You like the boxing one?
The boxing one was cool, but normally I'm in it for superpowers. Like I just want to see superheroes doing stuff in different settings.
That's true.
Whether you're a ninja or an alien or whatever.
A pirate.
Pirate, exactly.
Guy who likes making food.
Yep.
Chef.
Yeah. I like.
be a chef.
Well, he's a chef, but he fights like monsters.
Yeah, he like kills monsters and then like turns them into the food.
Oh.
Whereas the food anime that I like, they have cooking competitions, but when they eat the food, it's so good it makes them come.
Okay. All right.
So that's one of the weird ones. I'll be honest about that.
So
one.
Patrick is like, when we're talking about the levels, like I would say like
I'll say I'm
surface
deep into
level,
it.
like if it's an iceberg, I'm definitely not. I'm above water. Patrick's underwater on the iceberg level
Yeah.
of weird. Anime.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right.
I'm resound to having that around me. Oh man. Well, anime, wrestling. We got politics. We got everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we try to touch on
No,
everything.
we did no
But
disc
also-
golf. That's the only thing we
well,
didn't talk about.
no, we can talk about disc golf.
We, damn it.
So
Which
I guess
I-
you lost.
I
No,
don't.
he
I
doesn't
don't
even play.
I don't
Oh,
know
really?
I hear them talk about it all the time.
I
I'm
figured
like, oh
that'd
my
be your
God.
shit. Like
he got
disc golf.
He got like, our uncle gave him a set of like beginner disc golf stuff for Christmas that is unopened. I think.
No, it's open. They just haven't been thrown ever.
And so you don't play? No interest whatsoever?
Every time I'm around to play, I don't have my own stuff, and
Well,
I
it
know
sounds like you do.
Well, I don't
Just
have
don't
it
use it.
with
Doesn't
me.
bring it ever.
And around me, where I live, there aren't any courses.
It's because
So-
it's all old people.
Well, yeah. They also just don't. They don't want to build like.
But there's a bunch of pickleball, courts.
Oh my God! It's
Old
the,
people love that
the
shit.
place I'm in is fucking ridiculous. Some of the.
I just
some
can't
of the
picture like a
stuff they
town
have,
of just literally just old people.
It's-
Like there's no
I
nightlife.
swear
There's no
to God,
like.
it is just during the week. If it's after 6 o'clock, there is no one on the sidewalks in downtown. And when I say downtown, I mean 2 blocks.
Main
It's
Street.
just
Main
2
Street.
blocks. And during the weekends, there's going to be people around on Saturdays from about 8 to 8, and then nothing, and no one is in town on
So this
Sundays.
sounds like a great opportunity for you.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
be the young, hip, cool dude in that town
I
and attract other young people.
I really wish it could work that way.
The problem is he doesn't want to attract other people.
Yeah, I want other people to go away. I want more people to leave.
Jeez, real antisocial.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, I did play disc golf today.
Yeah, how'd it go?
I shot pretty well.
Did you
But
win?
No.
What's the point?
To get better, to try, to have fun.
Who won?
This dude Alex had the low score for the day.
He was on your
He
squad.
he was
though, or
he
whatever,
played
right?
in the card I was on.
You beat Dad.
Yeah, dude, fuck that guy. He's not that good. He tries to act like he's so good, and I'm like, no, like first off, I'm not a big fan of playing with him a lot because he's just like bad vibes. He like
Yeah, angry, bad
yeah,
vibes.
and it's like, yeah, dude, like I get it, like you fucked up and that throw was bad, but you're bad. Don't stop
it's
thinking
the red
you're-
hair, dude. It's the
like,
red hair.
stop thinking you're good. I don't think I'm good, so I throw it bad. I'm like, fuck, that sucked. Okay, move on to the next thing.
Maybe
Like,
here's what he needs.
Some weed.
He messes up.
probably.
He messes up.
Yeah, if he could just power,
Power
up,
up,
like
But he doesn't
Goku.
get better. It's just ruining everybody else's time.
But I've had myself a day today.
Damn.
Yeah, I got up at 6 a.m. to watch the Philadelphia Fusion professional Overwatch League team.
Hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They kicked ass.
Yeah, they did. So I got up at 6, watched them, ordered myself a fucking big ass breakfast sandwich, ate that, said goodbye to Brittany. She was still in bed. I was like, I'm going to play disc golf before you even wake up. And then I played disc golf, had a good time. Like, came home, stopped, got something to eat, went to go pick him up, and they were parents were cleaning up from the party they had yesterday. And like, you want leftover cheesesteaks? I was like, fuck yeah, like, eat some of that. And then we showed up here.
Sweet.
Honestly, a pretty good Sunday.
Yeah, right. It's not a bad day. Plus, I'm off all week, so I was like, I'm gonna go hard and like pass out and wake up and do it again Monday probably.
Nice.
Now, are you staying down there with him, or are you coming right back up?
Nah, I'll probably just come right back. There's nothing to do down
Yeah.
there on Sundays.
Especially Mondays either. I mean, there wouldn't be anything to like do as a guest on a Monday. There is Memorial Day weekend though. I know you're out doing
I know,
stuff,
I'll be up
but
the mountains.
big festival. Chestertown, the town I'm in, they were actually the first place to do what the Boston Tea Party was, is, kick a bunch of the British out, throw tea into the river. They were the first place to actually do that. So every Memorial Day weekend,
I always wondered why waste it? Why not just steal it from them and then sell it on your own?
Do you
It was
know
just-
how fucking stupid everyone was way back then?
I think it's more about sending a message.
Yeah, I mean, could have just fucking slit a bunch of their throats and thrown them in the water and took their goods. Because
think they-
goods are good.
Weren't thinking about it.
They were probably doing that shit too.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's
But I think
what actually happened. But they're like, it was the tea.
I really think it was more of a
Fuck you, and
like
we don't need your shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's gonna cost you money just to like watch it be wasted.
Yeah, true.
But that's one of their big festivals they have every year during Memorial Day weekend. So
that's when it livens up down there, huh?
actually, yeah, during the summer, since it's right on the river, it's like
It's a
great
su-
place
it's a
to
summer
hang
town.
out during the summer. Just like be there for like 3 days, a weekend. Don't live there. Don't.
They have like beaches, like
don't
not
move to
beaches, but like
Chestertown.
do they have nice riverfront like?
Yeah, they have
stuff
they
to
have a
do?
really cool marina. There was a restaurant there. They had a fire in December that burnt down the roof over their kitchen.
Was that 98 Cannon? That
Yeah.
place burnt down?
Yeah,
Damn,
well,
that
not
place
the
was-
whole place, just the kitchen.
Oh, so are they up and running again?
No,
That place was good.
I talked to the manager a little while ago, and he said that they're not going to be open until late September. They're missing
Damn.
all of
their
summer.
Big, yeah.
Yeah,
That
all the big
sucks.
money time. That
Well, hopefully they got
blows.
insurance, so that'll cover them for it.
They
right?
should.
Hopefully they
I think
set up
that-
like a pop-up truck out front in the parking lot.
That's
or
what
something.
I said they should do. I don't know
Their
if
food's
that's
that good.
It's all like
decent.
fresh seafood,
Oh.
like for the most part. It's good.
But
It's one of the only like nice restaurants in the town.
the two
too.
things that I think are really hurting it is labor. They don't have enough people to work on it, and lumber. They
Yeah.
aren't able to get enough of the supplies to actually rebuild everything.
No shit.
It's fucked up. But yeah, they do have a real nice riverfront for boats and stuff like that.
I want to say it's like fucked up, like the Susquehanna. Like you go fishing somewhere and it's like, oh, there's not really any fish in here except for sunnies and carp. You know, it's a bad environment.
You wouldn't
So
want,
you don't want to go like tubing or anything in there 'cause it's so polluted.
Yeah, if you're going swimming or fishing, you don't want to do that in the river. You take the river into the Chesapeake Bay, and then you do all that stuff.
Gotcha. I know there's a lot of striper fishing there and everything.
I still have a big fillet. I went fishing with my uncle in October. Caught 2 big striped bass.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
he's out fishing all the time, so he goes home, cuts it up, cleans everything up. So I've got 2 giant fillets that are still in my fridge.
You talk about something that's addictive, like fisherman is like one of those things that's like people are all in, and I mean like every day that's all they think about. Or it's like me, like I grew up fishing. I love fishing, but I could go a year without doing it, and I don't eat fish or seafood, so it doesn't matter to me. But
I could
love that
totally
shit.
see myself getting lost in fishing though. If
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
a boat and I just had time to do it, I could go out fishing for 8-10 hours a day, just hang out on a boat, casting things, drinking beers.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
I-
did that when I was like a teenager. It's fun fishing all day.
When I was working for a moving company, we were like moving a guy out of a house into an apartment, like the Muse down in like Sugartown. Moving him into there, and I was like, man, you're going from like a house into this small apartment. Like, what's the deal? Like, he's like, you're alone. Like, it's not like you have like there's no sign of a wife you're getting divorced from. Like, what's up? He goes, oh, like no, I had the house and like. But I was like, I'm a fisherman, and like he was bit like not like one of the crab fishermen from like Deadliest Catch, but like in the same ilk where he
It
would
was a job.
yeah, like he would go and spend 6 months on a boat like commercial fishing, and then like come back and have 6 months off, and then like go six, or actually it was like 3 months, and then he would come back and have a month off, and then go like 3 months on the other coast where like the fish, like the weather changed or whatever. And he was telling us about it. I was like, dude, that sounds pretty fucking awesome. Like, you're just like out there fishing all the time. Like, and granted, it's not like rod and reel, but you're just like with your boys on a boat, like catching fish, Like come back like, all right, just hang out for a month and then back out to the other side of the country for more fish.
Well, that's why I'm kind of excited to have like another like, so there's like commercial fishing, then there's fishing, and then there's like fly fishermen. So like I'm excited, like hopefully we'll have like my buddy Stu on, or like online on stream assassins, like those guys like tying flies, and like it seems like it looks like all they do is thinking about getting onto a little river and catching little like rainbow trout and shit. Like they love that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's fun. Being out there catching fish is just fun.
Yeah.
Because, I always hear the reason it's called fishing, not catching, because you're not always guaranteed to catch something. So when you do catch something, it's fucking awesome being able to haul that thing into the boat, getting your picture taken with that on a line. Badass.
But that's like one of the differences is with like Brittany and her family, they've had this mountain house their whole lives, so their fishing is like going up to the stream, and like they have fly rods with all that kind of deal where they're like out in the stream, like let's get some trout or whatever. And like they said, oh, we like fishing, and I was like, cool, I like fishing too, but I would think of fishing with our grandparents with the house down near the bay in Long Beach Island. Was like, all right, get up at 6, get in the boat, like load up the rods and reels, like a cooler full of like we weren't drinking at the time, but like a cooler full of beer and snacks, and then like just sit in the boat for
And,
6,
like,
7
and,
hours,
like, all this
Yeah.
extra stuff.
yeah, and just like fucking cast and like let it sit, and then grab a different rod, cast it with a bobber, and like just sit there and then you're just chilling on the water. It's oh shit, we got a hit, like fucking that's when the fight starts, and you're just like yeah, reeling it in.
So and then there's like what I did was like we lived at the end of a road that went into a lake. So that's different than both of those. Like, all right, so you're casting with worms, or maybe you have a bobber, or maybe you're using spinners, like, and you're catching all kinds of different fish, like bass and perch and stuff like that. And then you got the thing of like being in a stream, like finding pockets, and then using the fly fishing, which I've never done.
There's definitely a science to it, because my uncle, he was like, oh, you can see over there, there's, a whole school over there. And I'm like, how the fuck can you all of it looks like water. I don't get it.
That's like when Dad would take us out, and he'd be like, all right, we got to go over here. This is where the fish are. Like, but how?
Well,
yeah, they're in the water. I get that.
And then there's even further breakdowns where it's like you would say like commercial fishing, then to like the fishing we did where it's like really not that active, if you're just sitting there and fishing, and then
like waiting.
Yeah, and then like fishing like you did where you're kind of like casting and reeling in from a dock somewhere, and then you get like the lower down where like the most hardcore are the fly fishermen. They're like, yo, I'm hiking in there, and then I'm gonna like fucking put my waders on, and I tied all these flies, and I do it like this. But then there's even a breakdown further where there's like fly fishermen that are like, yo, if you cast upstream, you're a fucking doofus. Like you only cast downstream, like you only do like where there's like their own imposed rules, and I probably fucked that up. It's probably cast upstream instead of downstream or whatever. But there's just like these imposed rules where like, nah, you're not a real fly fisherman unless you do it this way.
Or now, like, so since I follow these guys, now I'm getting even further in the breakdown of fly fishing. There's people like where you like it's totally covered, it's a small little stream, and it's like you flick your fly into the one little spot where there might be a fish, and you get a bite, and you're like, Jesus Christ, and they get it, and it's a pretty fish, like it's cool, rainbow, whatever, and it's like, but it's like this big, and it's like, but cool.
Well, and then I've
gotten
thought,
sunnies
like,
that are bigger than that,
but like the catch and release fishing is where I kind of am like, it gets weird. It was like, well, why don't you just like, you can eat it if it's big enough, like just.
I've killed a lot of fish in my day, like a lot of sunnies, because they're like the trash fucking fish of the lake. And there's so many of them.
Yeah, and you can still eat them. Like it's probably, they're bony. They're probably not like
bass.
that good to eat.
You get like 2 fish sticks out of it.
Yeah,
that's like, oh, I got this tiny fish, but I got like a snack later.
And I think that comes with age, where you're like, you don't want to kill shit, but like when you're a kid, like, I don't want to say killing stuff is fun because then it sounds weird, but I mean, you kill pretty much anything you came upon when you were a kid. Like,
just exactly how many small mammals are buried in your parents' backyard?
Mammals not look, mammals not so much, but like reptiles and fish, you no feelings whatsoever about those.
Well, and that's what I do think is really cool about the internet is you are able to see that like super far out community for something like fishing. So in the same way that we really like this video game and we watch the professionals play it, in the same sense, we could find people that are super into homogenizing milk, you know, and we'd be able to find that community of farmers that are like, and today old Bessie, she brought out 6 gallons. And, like, and we'd probably find that interesting if we end up, like, seeing the whole process and the like, people that really are into it.
Those things aren't interesting until you meet someone that makes it interesting, where you're like, oh, like, this dude is so into this that I will sit here and listen to them talk about it all day.
Well, I've brought it up before, but there's a channel called Reason, and it's got a series called Obsessed, and it's just, they are obsessed with their thing. One of them was like soda. So he has a soda pop store filled with all kinds of different sodas. And when he talks about them, like, fucking soda. Who gives a fuck? Pepsi, Coke. No. That's for pussies. Like, he's talking about homemade, like, small makers of, like, soda, different kinds. And then there's another guy that makes absinthe. And then another guy that does pizza. And he only uses certain ingredients because those ingredients are, like, you know, they get so obsessed with one particular aspect of an art, which I guess you could call cooking or making stuff is an art, and they make you interested in it.
That's what I really like about that show, My Strange Addiction.
Why? Because they eat cushions?
Yeah, because then you're just like, there's fucking people out there that do this stuff.
But that's a broken person.
They're really into swallowing quarters.
That doesn't mean that it's not interesting to watch.
Like, that's just, there's some wiring up there that's broken, and then you have pity for that person because they like the fucking amusement rides.
That doesn't mean that it's not interesting.
That lady was in love with that roller coaster, Stan.
No, I remember watching when we were at your bachelor party. It was a guy who was in love with pool floaties.
That's because there's a hole you can stick your dick in it.
No, he said it's not even sexual. He just finds them all as, like, a romantic partner. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, that's a broken person that we would send into battle, and he'd be, like, cut up immediately. And then we'd be like, all right.
That, or he'd be like a fucking Viking berserker
I'm
just
going
trying to get
protect,
back to his pool floaties.
I'm going to protect my pool floaties at all fucking costs.
Hey, you know what, dude? Those people over there, they're the bad guys. They're coming over here to stop America being America, and they want to take your floaties.
All of them are coming over to your house with a pair of scissors.
Oh, you know what's interesting? The doll people. The dolls.
Like the real dolls?
But they're not real, like not real dolls. They're homemade versions.
That's weird.
Creepy.
I got into, there's this one channel I like that'll read creepy stories from Reddit. It'll just be like odd, like true crime type stuff. And this one guy was a Russian scientist who ended up in his studies, got really obsessed with death and what happens in the afterlife. Yada, yada, yada. The end result of the story is that he would dig up dead people's bodies and then make them into dolls, and he would, like, give a life to them and, like, celebrate their birthday and, like, oh, your friends are coming over, and it would just be a different dead person into a doll.
That's interesting, if true. Like, my only thing is, like my wife does it all the time with stuff. Did you, like, she watches this podcast, like, slash, like, radio show, and, what the fuck's the guy's name? I forget, but, like, they have call-ins or they read stories, and it's like, she'll be telling me about one, like, can you believe this? Like, no, it's probably not real. It's stupid. Bert, fucking radio show or something. Not the cool one, not Bert Kreischer.
I was gonna say Bert Kreischer. That
not,
doesn't seem
no.
up his
Open
alley.
Tabs is fucking awesome, but this show is called Bert.
You're telling me the machine store is all bullshit?
No, this is just them. He's got, like, co-hosts, and they just, like, read stories off the internet. It's like cool, but hard to believe. Whereas, like, the doll thing, you're meeting, like, you're being introduced to real people that travel the country with their fake dolls that they've made, and you know they're fucking them, which is, like, a whole nother level. But not only are they fucking them, because we can all, like, you know, look, fucking guys are gross, but they have relationships with these dolls, and they treat them like people, and you're like, oh, it's sad.
Have you met Jessica?
It's not only sad, but it's also like you're broken and nobody could probably ever make you whole. Like, oh, I guess we've got to accept you into society.
Except the hole in that doll helped make you whole.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a shame, but that's why not everybody's opinion should count the same, because this guy has a fantasy world where a doll is in place of a human. So I'm betting money that that's not the only place that they're faulty on logic. You know what I mean? Like, probably shouldn't let them make rules. Maybe their vote does not count as much as somebody that's normal. You know what I mean?
I do, but I also think like the amount of those people.
But it's not just that. So it's so that's a tiny.
All of them things combined. I get that.
Yes.
But I just feel like the amount of normal people out there is still enough to offset all the wackos.
You would hope.
Unless everyone is super weird and we're all really good at hiding it.
I think we
That's
all are
probably
weird.
more true.
But I think there's probably just like everything, there's a
bell
sliding
curve to
scale.
everything.
Yeah, there's a sliding scale. It's like, all right, here's normal, but normal's like pretty spread out because everybody has their weird little glitches. But then there's the scale past that where it's like extremes.
Well, here's the thing though is
Standard deviation.
But you're saying since everything is controlled and it's all fake, then they're
sure.
able to control the narrative of what's normal, and you might be okay with that until all of a sudden something that like you're really into falls under
outside.
the not normal, and you're like,
But
whoa.
That's why I also think like this is where I would have a conversation with religious people. I don't think it's endowed to us by Jesus. I think that there's a natural thing that everybody has morals and like common sense. So I think that's naturally endowed on everybody that's born. So yeah, while you're born in New Guinea where like those dudes like swallow or have fucking like young kids swallow their semen because they think it's endowing. They're just molesting kids, but it's like in New Guinea, that's the thing. I think anybody that's born in anything can realize at some point like, oh, you're just molesting children, probably not the right thing to do. Whether it's a being up there saying it or whatever, I think common sense would eventually come. Not to say come, but would eventually be like, hey, we also probably shouldn't eat our enemies, like, because some of us get really, really sick when we eat the brains of our enemies. Like, you know, once you come out of that, I think there's a natural moral compass for humans.
You would
which
hope
I think
so.
fixes your problem of you might be born into a society that does fucked up shit, and then when you're confronted with another society where they don't do that, I think some of the people are like, oh yeah, I think maybe we are doing something wrong, and I don't think it would be ordained from a Jesus or anything, or Allah.
From a Jesus.
Well, baby Jesus, and God are like the same person,
depends
right?
on which version of Jesus we're talking about.
Okay.
My personal favorite version of Jesus is when he comes back after being in the desert for a whole long time, and he finds out that people are selling shit in the temple, so he's just flipping tables.
He didn't like that?
I love that.
No, he didn't like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Jesus hates capitalism. He doesn't want money. He wants everyone to
Well,
love each other.
I don't know. They're pretty flush on money.
Just because they're doing it, that means they're wrong.
But when they say, what would Jesus do? Getting angry and flipping a table is on the list of things Jesus did.
That's totally something he did. It's canon.
Flood everybody and kill them all and then start over again with
Hell yeah.
brothers and sisters. Sounds about right.
My favorite Jesus is the one they don't talk about in the Bible, when he was like 14, 15, and Joseph would be like, can you go clean your stable? And he'd be like, fuck you, Joseph, you're not my real dad.
It definitely happened.
I think that's the plot of Angels and Demons.
Yeah?
Like there's like
That's
Tom Hanks?
yeah, like I think it was like they're trying to uncover this like unwritten thing, like it's like a gospel of Jesus that like he does all this bad stuff that they like tried to cover up.
There is a whole bunch of books that were taken out of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's true.
How bad is that movie? Like, Tom Hanks couldn't save it in the like a white albino who beats themselves. Like, that's the thing that sticks out of my mind about that movie. Like, super creepy.
I don't know, like the only time I ever sat down and tried to watch that movie was at like it was late night, like after a house party, and I was just like blasted, like just fucking high, drunk, like everything, like blasted.
You almost became a Christian, bro.
No, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, yo, this movie seems like real fucked up, like, and they're like, yeah, like all the stuff that's happening is. And I was like, no, it's like I feel like half the like characters are cartoons. Like it looks like real weird, and they're like, no, Kevin, you need to go to bed. You're just too fucked up right now. I was like, I guess.
I never got into it.
Yeah,
I know. I remember when it came out, though.
It was huge.
That everyone was like, "You got to read this book." And at the time, I think I was like 12, so I was like, "Dude, I'm not reading anything other than what
Harry
the Pokemon
Potter.
game is saying."
You guys know YouTube's a thing, right? You can fucking
Man.
with books.
Early YouTube was crazy. Because that was before people were like,
That's when
this is my job.
Yeah.
It's just when people were shit posting whatever random
That's-
video they made.
the original memes were like the minute-long YouTube videos of like stupid shit.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And like, dude, it broke my heart when like, I guess I'd like 3 weeks ago at Brandon's wedding when I found out that the Leroy Jenkins video was fake.
Yeah.
Which video is that?
Where they're playing World of Warcraft, and it's like, all right, you make sure you have your spell slot equipped, Patrick, and in your T function stand, you need to and like they're all planning the raid,
Yeah,
and then the guy is just like Leroy Jenkins,
and it goes in there.
and
I
he
do
just runs
remember that.
Yeah, whole
was
like
fake?
yeah, like a whole planned staged thing that was like really, because that's one of my all-time favorite internet videos, and it's fake.
Yeah.
Just goes to show that everything on the internet is fake. It's all fake. All of it.
Yeah.
That one hurt though.
Yeah, well,
I think there's some gems that are just captured like organically, and those are the ones I think people like the most.
Yeah, like Dude Perfect, right, Pat?
I hate Dude Perfect. That shit's so dumb.
Which guy's that?
Those are
That's like
people that
the-
like they do trick shots. They'll like
Oh,
throw a
yeah, yeah,
frisbee
yeah.
through a car window as it's driving by, and I want to be like, I know you filmed this 13 times before you actually got the take.
I just watched a video where it showed, like, it made it more interesting that it took, it was just like this softball chick, probably, or rugby chick, whatever. Anyway, she's
What are you
doing
trying
these
to
trick.
say?
Anyway, she's doing these trick shots, and it was just like took X amount of times to do, and it was like, oh, like that's interesting. She threw a football in a net, like a basketball net, like, and it showed how many times it took. That is interesting because then that gives it a more depth.
The problem I have with Dude Perfect is that they'll spend 2 hours trying to throw a football from the top of a stadium, like down into the basketball net, and they do it for 2 hours, and then they make it, and they all cheer like they did it on the first try. And it's like, come on.
You just did this 100 times, and
Law
somebody
of
had to run the ball up to
probability.
you.
You're gonna get it eventually. Just one of these
Yeah,
times,
like,
it's gonna happen.
I would get excited and be like, fuck yeah, like finally made it. But I'm not like cheering and jumping around like, holy shit, like, did you see that? That was amazing.
Did you ever see, like, I was trying to think of it while we were talking about it. Did you ever see Unforgivable?
Yeah,
All right.
fucking
Yes.
unforgivable videos.
Now, I think, like, obviously he's doing that as a skit, but I think that's organically awesome. Like, and that's unforgivable. Like, dude, just like, it was like 5 volumes
it's just
of
like
it.
a guy like telling
us
like a
hilarious
bullshit story. Yeah.
And it was like early days of internet, so it's not like produced. It's not like he has people writing for him. It was like off the top of his head trying to be
No,
funny.
it's clearly like people drinking beers around a fire,
Yeah.
and they started like
Like
yo,
out in the
dude, like
woods.
here's
Well,
this
and
fucking funny thing. Do it.
That's what was cool about early internet is no one really knew what it was, so they could just like like you
do
said,
it.
organically
Yeah.
put something on there. Because nowadays it's like kids are like, I'm gonna grow up and be a YouTuber. And that's not the dumbest fucking thing they could say.
But also, like, so Unforgivable specifically, he put them out there just as a goof of like, hey, here's my thing. If people tried to redo that, they wouldn't be able to. Like, his storytelling in that, while maybe if we watched it now, maybe it's not as good as I remember it being, I thought it was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh,
His
he's-
little things, like, I went to the mailbox and it smelled like sex. Like, but he doesn't say sex, he's cess, or whatever. Like, it was hilarious. Like, and his Letterman jacket, like, just everything about it was so funny.
Said, bitch, I ain't got no money.
Yes, bitch, I don't got no monies. Like, hilarious.
That was the best part, is that early internet was so raw
Yeah.
because no one was like, I'm gonna put something up here so I can get 1 million views. They're like, I have this
Doing it for
video,
fun. Just-
so I'll just put it here.
I have a camera. Here's the internet. It lets me upload what I've filmed. Holy
Yeah.
shit, this is cool.
Well, and that's how it all started. That's why like all
how it
those memes
started.
were just, what they were at the
Yeah.
time.
But how disappointing and like sad is it when you see like a group of influencers or whatever, like people trying to shoot, and like somebody's interrupted, and like they've got like 5 people with them, like, just why don't you just get out of here? Like, it's not funny. Like, and they're trying to do something to look real or organic, but it's all staged and fake, and they're really getting upset because they're fucking up their money, which I understand. Like, they're trying to get paid. It's 5 people. They've probably got a production. It's like some random other dude who's making their own content off them being goofy. Like, you're like, oh man, that's just that makes me not want to watch your videos at all. You're terrible people. Like, outside of what we see when you're trying to produce content.
Well, and that's the weird thing, is there's like the people that are trying to make content, and then there are the people that make their own content watching someone else's content.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are making their content to talk about the other person that's talking about this other there's just like
Layers.
weird dumb layers that
Well,
we've
it's like the
added
quartering.
to it.
Do you ever get tricked into watching a quartering video? He'll put like stuff that like, oh, they're having a fight or whatever. It's like, okay, I guess I'll watch this real fast. And it's like a 20-minute video, and first few seconds are him saying what you wanted to hear, and then him talking about nonsense. Well, no, dude, like you put it in the title. Tell me what you're gonna say. That's all. The only part I'm interested in.
Right.
He doesn't.
There are so many videos, especially like help videos. Like, and I'll be honest, I do play a decent amount of video games, so I'll look up like, how do I do this in a video game? But it's always like, hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about doing this, but before I get into it, I have to tell you about today's sponsor. And then there's a whole ad, and then it's like, and I have to shout out everyone from my Patreon. So I'm going to say all 6,000 of you by name right now.
Usually I just figure it out on my own because I'm good at video games.
Then the video's like 10 minutes long, 15 seconds of it is all you
That's
really
all I
needed.
That's why I like the new thing where they put in the times.
They
They
show
break
you
down
right
like
what it
fuck,
is.
because like Philip DeFranco or whatever, like he's talking about one subject that you care about and the rest is fucking all garbage. Boom, skip right to that.
I
Cool.
love that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great invention.
Mm-hmm. Well, and for the longest time, like, that's only a new thing.
Yeah, no, that's super new.
And
Before you'd have to skip and then you'd be hit it halfway in the middle and you have to go back, but then you went too far.
way back in the good days of YouTube where there was just no ads whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Now you try to skip past that little yellow bar, and you're like, you get past it a little bit, you're like, fuck, I cut too short, and then you go back and you gotta watch the ad anyway, like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then it goes, fuck you, 30 seconds
Yep.
unskippable.
Yep.
Dude,
You
and
ever
then,
get weird ads? I always get, like, it'll be like a 20-minute commercial for, like,
They're all stuff you'll
No,
never
yeah,
be able to
dude,
buy.
yeah,
or want to
it's
buy.
like, it's not even a camera company. It's a company that will print your pictures.
Yeah.
But the thing they're showing me is 20 minutes of a documentary about how the business started. And I'm like, how is this a
It's
commercial?
insane.
dude, I was looking up like video game clips, and then there was some other type of YouTube channel that I was watching at the time, and my ad was a full episode of this other YouTube channel was the ad. I was like, and it was like 7 minutes of like this. And I was like, how did you get that to be the ad content on this other video, let alone the whole video?
There was one time I got a whole podcast, and it was an hour long in Russian. What part of me, nothing I search says I would be interested in that? Where do you go where you're like,
Or
guy-
they've tricked you, like, where they, like, it used to, all right, the ad runs, it's done, it goes back to your program. Now they make you, like, hit the, oh, are you sure you want to skip? Like, but the whole point of this was I just want to run, do your 5-second ad, then it'll go back to the thing I want. Now it just keeps playing fucking minutes long. Fuck.
Dude,
Well,
I
and
had
it-
I had a whole run of a couple of months where all of my ads were coming in Spanish, and I was like, I've never searched anything Spanish. Like, I've never indicated to the internet ever that I would understand Spanish.
it was all that Latina porno.
Yeah.
I guess.
Donde?
But it's like videos for like H Mart or like the grocery stores that are like ethnic, and I'm like, how is this relevant to me, especially because it's not in English?
Yeah, how'd they get that?
That's what I think is interesting about the algorithms for like Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Just because I really want to see, what do you think I am? I want to know what you think that I would be interested in. Because It's probably wrong. I'll be honest. I don't post anything. I hardly like anything.
I want to
know what they think I am.
I want to see the profile, because we all, like, Instagram, Facebook, they all have a profile of us that they sell to advertising companies to, like, so that they're like, oh, this is what Kevin's into, so target him with these ads. I would like to get my hands on my own profile to be like, what is, yeah, like the same type of deal. Like,
I do remember.
What is it that you think I'm into?
A few years ago, I think it was right when Trump was like about to be elected, there was something that you could do on Facebook, go through like all of these different things in the settings, and it would show you what political like affiliation it thinks you would be. And I remember looking mine up, and it was like very conservative. I was like, and I'm sure you can probably tell just from this conversation, I'm not.
Well, that in your hair.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, everything about me screams it, but Facebook was like, this guy, he's leaning to the right. Heavy.
I saw one of them. It was from Twitter, and it was a guy from high school. And it was like, you know, coming up for the election, there's more candidates. It was 2016. It was like, there's more candidates than just Trump and Hillary. Like, maybe, like, take this quiz to see, like, where you fall on the spectrum of conservative to liberal. And thinking of myself as a pretty, like, down the middle moderate on most things, I'm like, let's see what this thing says. And it took, like, 15 minutes to do the whole thing. Yeah, and it goes, you're slightly moderate. And I was like... Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gives you like 3 people. It gives you like Bernie and like 2 other people.
Yeah, like I forget exactly who it said, but I was just like, it would like it showed like a graph. It was a square, and it was
very
like,
helpful.
Here's like liberal, and here's conservative, and here's like fascist, and here's like socialist or whatever. And it was like right in the middle, like slightly to the right a little bit. And I was like, oh, kind of.
That's because those questions.
If you gave me that graph and was like, put where you think you were, it would have been exactly where the thing told me.
Well, it's because those questions are so. I need more information. You can't just say yes or no on whether we're going to war. We have to figure this thing out. Like, what are you talking about?
All them things are always like strongly agree or strongly disagree. It's like, what if I just don't fucking care?
Or what if we need more information before we make giant law decisions?
I've never strongly agreed to anything in my life. Like, I'm definitely not starting on this quiz on the internet.
Well, let's ban anime. And now, how do you feel?
Oh, fuck you. Yeah. Never mind. Well, I strongly disagree. I never said I didn't strongly disagree with things.
Everyone has to watch anime.
No, they don't, though.
Strong agree.
What was I gonna ask you? I was just gonna ask you something.
I'm game.
How's the job going?
Radio's been pretty interesting.
You still doing it?
Yeah.
Still liking it?
Yeah, it's still pretty cool. The landscape of it is tough because now everything is so digital that there are fewer jobs because all of the big conglomerates that own a lot of the stations are like, well, Mike in, Dallas, he can also just record the show and we'll put the same thing on in Dallas, Philly, Chicago, Boston, because we have all these stations. There's one guy do it all.
Yeah.
So a lot less jobs right now, and it's just harder to get into a bigger space. But it's still really cool, and that doesn't mean that there aren't things available, because there's definitely like podcasts.
That's what I was going to say.
There's editing and hosting that, and the cool thing about that is anyone can start one.
Yeah.
Anyone can
We
produce theirs.
Seriously.
And
that was my question. I was like, why? So, I don't know, like, if you want to, but, like, so you're maybe just take all the stuff you're learning from that, and maybe if you find a cool person or you link up with somebody, like, why not just do your own radio show? You could even call it a radio show, but it would just be a podcast on the internet.
But I think you have the ability to, like, edit and like chop up like audio and video, like, so I think next time you're online, I'm sure you see the same things where like the video game content creators are like looking for an editor for a thing. Like, I think you just start like, hey man, I know how to do it. Like, start.
And all those hours at work that you're doing stuff for that, like, will just be hours of doing something maybe you even like a little bit more.
True. And I have actually been thinking of a podcast because I was doing one
Yeah.
a while ago. It
You
was
were one
all-
of the first ones we looked at. We were like, oh, his brother's doing it. Like, why not? Like, what equipment
and
do you
I
have?
love doing it. How it ended is it's so tragic. I was really upset about it.
What, the sports companies sue you?
No, it's so dumb too. I had a giant Mac, and I kept getting the notification in the top. It's like your iCloud is getting full, and I was like, "Fucking, it's always getting
They're
full."
trying
This
to give him
is so
get more money out of
stupid.
me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know why it's getting full anyway. I have 2 terabytes on this iMac. It shouldn't be on the iCloud anyway. So I go into the iCloud thing, and I'm like, I'll delete everything, and then I'll cut back on it. It was only saved on the iCloud. Nothing was
really?
saved on the hard drive. So when I deleted it all, thinking it was off of the iCloud, it just deleted everything that my podcast was. So I was like,
Bummer.
I lost. I was so defeated. I was like, I lost. The universe said no.
Yeah.
But I have had an idea for a podcast recently. So don't steal this.
Well, there you go. Don't say it.
All right.
Our
never
one,
mind.
our one
you.
list. Mr. Shabazz might steal it.
Be on the lookout for a podcast then.
Dude, that's
know.
where
What
we
is
come
it,
into
though?
play. Yeah.
So
I think
If-
there's IP rights here. We got
Yeah.
you.
if you are, if you follow me on Snapchat, every day I post a song of the day because I have a really wide variety of music that I like, and I like a lot of not popular stuff. So I've just been posting a different song of a different genre of a different artist every day, just because maybe someone either likes the song and it's like, oh, cool, Pat likes the song too, or someone is going, I've never heard this song before. I'll give it a listen. So the idea is I take the Discover Weekly on my Spotify, and I'll pick out like 5, 6, 7 songs that are just like standouts. This is a really good song that only has like 30,000 listens on Spotify. Check this band out. And then also be like, here are a few songs that I just really like that people probably might not know so much.
That's not a bad idea.
Well,
We could throw Contact Light at you. I think you'd probably like them.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in. I'm always down for music, and that's the thing that I do know about podcasts is you talk about with what you're interested in, and I know you guys are just interested in thoughts, information. You guys just like talking to people, which is awesome because I do too, except not like I don't want people talking to me. I want to talk to them.
I want to do the talking.
Well,
you sit and
absolutely.
listen.
But in the same vein, it's just I'm beyond interested in music. So that's like one of the first things I was like, I could sit and talk for an hour about like this band that I really like.
Or for something like that, you can make it short and sweet to the spot, and then the content could come afterwards. Like, all right, here's the thing, boom, 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 just like we want. And then after that, if you start to like my taste, then you can follow me to the other ideas or thoughts or whatever.
Hell yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. Workshopping in the brain. Haven't done anything
Yeah.
yet.
Hey, what the dude say? Handsome Ray, just get started.
Yeah, right.
Just gotta do it.
What are we looking like?
I think we've been here a while, haven't we?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's been good though.
Yeah, I know.
I like talking.
That's 2 hours.
Yeah, I think we're all right. You got a little bump in your radio station, right?
Yeah, I'm
Due
on.
to us?
No.
Oh, all
hit
right.
him with that, and then I think we can
Yeah.
some closers here.
So I work for WCTR, the new 106.9. If you're in the Maryland area, that's the airwave that you would want to be on. But you can also listen to us on WCTR.com. I'm on every Sunday from 5 o'clock to midnight. 10 o'clock to midnight, though, is I play only 90s alt-rock. And I do the same thing. I talk about everything that alt-rock was at that time because, it's a lot of people say it's just grunge. But there's like punk rock, there's stuff that's a little bit more classic rock, and then there's the old standbys, Foo Fighters, Stone Temple Pilots, all the good stuff.
Yeah,
So
much
if
more
you
than
want to
just
listen
grunge.
to that, I talk in between the songs. I think I'm pretty entertaining.
Cool.
But yeah, so check that out.
That's awesome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem,
Yeah, no
dude.
problem. And see, he's kind of downplaying, but like it's 5 to 12, and that's a solid block that you just got like a couple extra hours of like it's your radio station for that time.
100% control. I can put
Damn.
whatever music I want. I can talk about whatever I want.
Yeah, so don't downplay the fact that you got some little creative control for a solid part of the Sunday.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I feel like if I talk myself up too much, everyone's going to be like, this guy's an asshole.
Overhyped.
He has all of these dumbass opinions.
that's why
I'm not going to listen to a
That's
thing
everybody.
he says.
Well, that's why I'm forcing you to do it for you.
Yeah.
You should just do it. You do it for me.
I can't. I don't live down there. I can't be on the radio for you.
I'm the best DJ on the station. Listen to me.
There you go.
All right, well, this has been another episode of the Expresslane podcast with...
Kevin Stan. Patrick, special guest.
Hey!
All right. That was a long one.
That was
Peace.
a good one. See it.